What up, OG Logic episode?
Well, we're in.
Yeah, my big forehead's like up on the screen here.
I know, man. I was all like off on the side, checking on some stuff. You know what? You know what trips me out, man, is there's these people, right, on social media. We all have a social media presence, and like you'll make some type of comment, right? You know, like earlier, I said something about, you know, hey, if she's asking about your friends, keep your mouth shut, right? And I said that because you know, your friends got their private business and whatever, and don't give up your friend's business. You know, that's the where I'm coming. Well, if you're hanging around with people and then why shouldn't she know who you? And it's just like, oh my God, man, can't we just like? I will never go back in, and I would rather somebody completely misunderstand me, okay, than me go back and explain something I've written. I'm like, okay, go for it. Get me wrong. I don't care.
I literally just had this right now, and I mean, this guy. I have this video up. And it's literally titled, "Is the Messenger of Allah, Muhammad, peace be upon him, a pedophile prophet?" Obviously, I don't believe he is. And I'm still getting comments on this thing, even though it's like a 3.5, 4-year-old video. I can't remember how old it is. And this guy today, he comments, you know, is like, but what about this and what about that? And it's literally covered in the video, the very point that he's talking about. So either he didn't listen to the entire video, or it's like Zuby said on my interview the other day, people are just too unintelligent to actually understand what you're saying. And we have to actually come to the conclusion at some point that intelligence is actually, because of the modern world and because the interconnectivity of it all, true levels of understanding or excuse me, intelligence or lack thereof is actually showing. You know, and so I just told the guy, I mean, I literally typed in there. They always demonetize me in any way, so I'm just going to shoot it. I said, you know, I covered your point in the video, and apparently you're not bright enough to understand my point. Therefore, I'm left with nothing other than to tell you, fuck off, asshole. And that's what I typed in there. Because what else am I going to say to the guy? You know, I'm going to explain to you and type the point that I made in the video.
Well, you know, okay, so I had this conversation. This was actually in my you guys know because you're part of the group. So I do those Saturday morning Zooms, right? The conference meetings for the outfit. Yeah. And this last one, there's a guy, one of the members, you know, he was talking about how he likes to engage in arguments with people over either politics or whatever like that, because he feels like he's being informative and can change their mind. And I'm like, bro, first of all, like that would be like a 1 out of 100 maybe that would actually consider, you know, like what you're talking about or whatever. And then second of all, there's just so many better ways to spend your time than arguing about BS, you know? It's just like, I used to get back at people, but unless they're coming at me in a way to where it's like, hey, I was wondering if you could help me out. I got a question, or, you know, like they're coming respectfully. I don't even answer. Like, I'm just like, yeah, go ahead, think what you want. It's not even worth my time.
I agree with you, man. It's a waste of time for a lot of these people. You know, I'll bring it up again. I mean, I was talking to Zuby about this, and I was like, Zuby, how do you even stay nice and polite to all these people? He's dealing with 300,000 people, and probably half of them are haters, you know. And he's like, I just can't take, you know, Ted 36485 with 6 followers seriously. He's like, to stay happy, you know. Yeah, good point, man. Fair play.
Yeah. You know who's got gnarly haters, bro? Who's got gnarly haters is Mike Cernovich.
But you ever notice something? All of Mike Cernovich haters tend to seem to have some sort of like pedo type connections or proclivities. It's literally like some sort of connection between pedos and hating Mike Cernovich. I don't get it.
So the ones that are like more known, that's happened with, right? Yeah. But just like these average, like you'll read some post that he makes, right? And now, granted, Mike likes to push the controversial engagement button sometimes, and he'll say, you know, stuff that like it's gonna get him engagement, right? But like even the tame stuff, like the stuff that's like not just, you know, what Like you'll get on there, man, and these people are just going at his throat, you know. I wouldn't even care, honestly. I remember when I first started coming up and getting numbers for my following, right? There was a couple posts that I put out that had people like coming for, like I got the angry internet mob, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I was involved in like real mobs, you know, like real riots, like what is this, you know? Oh, screw you, man, right? And all that happens is like they come at you for like 2 or 3 days, and then they're gone. They're gone.
Yeah.
Like all that crap they're saying and all that whatever, and then it's just like, oh, okay, that's it. You'll still get those 1 or 2 stragglers that'll just like hold on, you know.
Great.
But it's like
struggle.
Yeah. But all you're doing is they're just helping promote you, you know. I mean, they reinforce so the fans that you have already, right? They're reinforcing those people. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And if not, they weren't your fans.
What I found works with me. Sorry to cut you.
I was just saying, it's good. It's good engagement, especially if you have a product. Like there was a time I was at war with female Muslim Twitter, and they were trying to say that I was having menage a trois with my wives. You know, they were trying to say that I was having like, you know, group sex with my wives. It's not permissible in Islam to have group sex with your wives. But anyway, I sold a bunch of products off of that. What I did was every time someone like became a hater or they started retweeting me but they didn't engage me, I just went on their thing and I said, yeah, you can come out and check my, you know, you can buy my course here. I said, use the discount code, what did I say? I think I said gangbangs or something like this, or, you know, I have to use this code word and get 50% off. Dude, I sold a bunch of products off that. It was great. They were like excellent. They're excellent advertisement for you.
When I tweet something controversial, I just mute it sometimes.
Yeah.
I just mute. Once I find myself getting too emotionally invested in the outcome of the people's opinions, I just find it easy for me to just mute it and ignore it. And then they can argue themselves away. They can curse me all they want. I can't see it. I'll move on.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's smart. I mean,
I've been attacked on 2 different occasions, and it was horrible. It was the first one was the gay community. They fucked me up. Excuse my language. They had me on the ropes, like literally death threats, curse my kids. My phone froze because of the notifications. It literally froze. Like it was every time I came on, it was like, and I had to make wudu and pray. I literally went and prayed in my office, like, Allah, this anger that I feel, I can't. It was just like, what's going on? Because you know, like with that community, you can't lash out either. You have to kind of, you can't really fight fire with fire the way you want to. So you have to kind of, do you know what I mean? They killed me, and then black Twitter, the women, they killed me once, and it was like, this is rough.
That must have been rough. That must have been rough.
It leaves you traumatized. Like you almost like censoring your own tweets because you're like, do you know what? Is it worth it? Am I willing to get cursed today? Do you know what? So now the mute button, I can just, you know.
Black Twitter, like that's so fun to follow, bro. Like I mean, some of the wittiness, you know, and just like the comebacks and all that are just so off the hook. And I can only imagine like the women of Black Twitter just coming for your throat. Ooh, I wouldn't even. Oh my God,
smoke with them.
Yeah, I don't want no smoke.
Me, I don't want no smoke with them. They can finish you. Like you just gotta just let them be. You know, let them be. Jews, homosexuals, black women, leave them alone. Don't bother them.
Yeah.
And it seems like Muslim women Twitter as well, and Somali Twitter. Yeah. Somali Twitter is vicious.
Well, let's just be honest. Vicious. When we say female Muslim Twitter, it's usually Somali female.
Yeah, they're vicious.
And they're funny. I think they're funny, bro. They come at you like crazy hard, I can't take them serious. They're a bunch of clowns. And that actually brings us to our topic today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Women. The whammons. Dealing with women.
Respecting women.
Everybody got questions about women. Everybody want to know about women. So we were gonna like just basically break this down from like from the beginning to the end, homies.
Yeah.
Who wants to lead this one off, man? Because this like actually a lot of what we were talking about. This is actually all in my vetting course, and I'm putting the finishing touches on it right here. It's got to launch in a few days, so I could go on for days about this.
I'll say a little piece, but obviously I think Bobby could lead it. But all I would say is that we all grow up, and there's always this what is it that women will always say these are the things they like, you know. So society will make us think that there's a list of traits and attributes that women like in order for us to secure them. And then as life goes on, you realize that list is not real. And then which leads us into this, because I've learned not to listen to women. I don't listen to them at all. And nothing, it's not in a like misogynistic way, but I've realized their words don't actually mean anything. It's, you have to look deeper than just what they say. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like, you know, so it just leads us to this conversation. What are they saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are they saying? And how
I have a condensed version of what you just said. Basically, to anybody watching, the condensed version of what he just said is never pay attention to what a woman says. Watch what she does. This is more important. This is the number one fail of most men. They fail. What a woman says, guys, doesn't matter. And I'll tell you why it doesn't matter what a woman says. Because what a woman says at a particular moment is dependent upon how she feels at that moment. And as we know, women are creatures of emotion. And so how she feels at that moment can change in 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years. You don't know. It could change from one instant to the next. And that means what she said at that moment also changes with her feeling. So this is why a lot of guys, they're expecting women to have this, like, you know, verbal honor code, like, man, I said it and I'm sticking my word to it and blah, blah, blah. No. Yes, when she said, I love you, she actually honestly and truly meant it at that moment. And then later, I hate you. Wow, she's throwing stuff at you. You know, next thing you know, you got stitches in your toe. Yeah. That's actually a true story of mine. You know, so that's the condensed version.
Get knifed. No, you know, I think that we should probably start off here with what we're talking about. What do the little signs mean, right? So we have men will be. Sorry, I'm editing this thing as we're going right now, but I don't understand what it is. There we go. So men will have these meets with girls or whatnot, or they'll be in the proximity of a woman, right? And there'll be certain ways that women act. Okay, little tells, behavioral instances between the man and the woman, right? And the guy may be attracted, okay? He's thinking like, oh, maybe she likes me, you know, maybe this is something that could work out, you know, whatever, right? But he's not sure. He's like, does this mean she likes me? Does this? And while what you're saying has merit, you know, about like, you know, watch what they do instead of what they say. There are these tells that are more or less universal. Yeah, it's more or less universal, right? One of which is a lot of eye contact. Okay, when they're overly staring at you, either during conversation, whichever, they're just glued on the eyes, right? Another one is when they act like you're the king of comedy. You know, everything that comes out of your mouth is just witty and intelligent, and they're just lots of laughing, lots of smiles. You know, hey, that's another one. And then of course, there's the touching. Okay, because I was saying this earlier. Well, no, touching you, like during conversation
Yeah.
or whatever. You know, they might reach over and oh, you know,
Yeah.
because here's the thing: unless you're in like a shoulder to shoulder space, women are hyper aware of
touch.
their space, hyper aware. Like they don't touch you on accident. You know, it's not unless you're at some place where they got to squeeze by you and they accidentally rub against you. It just doesn't happen on accident. So those are three that come to mind. You guys got any others?
Guys, for terminology's sake, just so you understand, these are what we call IOIs, indicators of interest. IOIs.
There you go.
So yeah, these are good ones. Yeah, eye contact, you know, constantly looking over, smiling, these type of things. I actually had a situation like this today. Me and Bramson Pickle, you know, the guy on Twitter, Bramson Pickle, we were at a burger joint, and there was a girl over at the table. You know, nice weather, everybody's out dressed like they shouldn't be, like their mama didn't raise them right. And, you know, I was getting a lot of IOIs from this girl, and he even noticed it. But I got work to do. They distraction. But yeah, this constant looking, whatnot, these type of things. This is a clear indicator of interest. You know, you got to be. Here's the thing, guys. You have to understand that for women, they have like a few default settings when it comes down to like indicators of interest. I've brought it down to 3. I think it's 3. This is my personal experience. You guys can throw in more if you have some more, but my personal 3 are this. 1, she shows interest, but it's not clear to you as a man. In other words, for her, it's clear she's giving indicators of interest.
Yeah.
But to you as a man, you're sort of like,
she's just being friendly. She's just being cool.
You don't even catch that something's going on here. Second level is she's being more overt in her giving cues that she's attracted and she's interested. But to you now, you've caught light of it. You've caught. You know something's going on, but you're sort of here like, is this really happening? What does that mean? You know, because to be honest, women don't really have to have, let's call it game, quote unquote game. Women usually like, hey, look, tatas, and then guys are like falling over themselves. So if you're not into that, like fall over yourself to chase a girl mode, you're gonna be sitting here like, what is she doing? Weirdo. You know. And then the third mode is just absolute overt, crazy, smack you in the face sexuality. You know, where it's just like, hey, look at my titties, you know, or here's some nudes, or you know, they come out just so ridiculous, you know, like a huge slab of meat, slap it on a table with a smacking sound sexuality that you can't miss it. But then, of course, to a man that has in its physical attraction sense a very strong appeal, but in terms of relationship sense, you're like, this is Miss Hitting Quit It. Now, of course, most of mine ain't hitting and quitting it, but you know, this is the message she gives, even if that's not her intention. So for me, this is what, you know, when you're looking at women and you're trying to pick these things up, you got to remember that they have these default settings. You got to sit here and figure out which one's going on, or maybe she's not interested in it, you know.
That's and basically what you're saying is years of honed experience. So for me, a lot of the cues that you mentioned, I think I actually don't even notice them no more because it's almost instinctual a lot of the time, where I just know, you know what I mean? You just get the feet, you just know, like I don't even bother like delving into if her toes pointing in my direction, if she's twirling her hair, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like she likes me. I know, I'm cool about it. But obviously, that's just years of experience and closing the deal. So we don't look at it on a micro level, you know, breaking it down. So a lot of the time, instinct is a good guide because we are instinctual creatures, you know. And sometimes you could feel things. Not obviously we get it wrong sometimes, and sometimes, like you said, they're not consistent with how they feel. So if you catch them one day and they like you, if you miss that moment, the next day you might not get that vibe again, and it's a reset. My philosophy is always like every woman has a password on her forehead. Some of their passwords are long encryptions, And if you type the wrong code in once, that's it. It's over. You'll never ever get through. And then there's some with like 3 letters, and you'll keep pressing, and you'll still get the opportunity to go again, because some women have different levels of security. You know what I mean? Some are quite easy to get through to. I've always realized that they will give you the code if you're patient enough, if you're observant enough. Sometimes we rush in like a bull in a china shop, especially with the more difficult, not difficult, but women that are more used to having men approaching them, and they see themselves as high value. Those are the ones that a lot of time men just rush in like a bull in a china shop, and then they're trying to. Those are the ones that you need to be patient with. You need to wait for them. They will actually give you their password. And that's something I've realized over the years. They will always give you the keys, but it's just a lot of the time men are impatient. So the first sign that their attraction is reciprocated doesn't mean that you try to close the deal straight away, because it doesn't work like that for every woman. And so sometimes men have to differentiate between the type of women that they're actually going for. If you're going for a woman that's just out for a one-night stand, what you try with her might not work with a woman that you're trying to get into a long-term relationship with, or a woman that might see herself as high value. So it's different techniques for different women, and it's about differentiating and understanding how to approach and seal the deal.
Yeah.
But the code is there.
Yeah. Generally, I have to admit, I guess I'm a kind of a smack it on the head with a hammer type of guy. I believe in direct approach. I don't like not that I don't like mystery. I mean, I have mystery within my character, my personality, but in terms of my intentions, I am a direct approach type of guy. I advise guys not to be, beat around the bush type of guys with women. And this is my humble estimation and opinion. I don't do a lot of guys because I spent a lot of time in the PUA world before I decided I wasn't going to deal with the red pill guys anymore. And, a lot of guys are like direct approach, this approach, that approach. I'm a direct approach type of guy. I always have been, always will be. I don't want to waste time. Me personally, I'm coming up on 48. I have a lot of stuff to do. You young guys got a lot of stuff to accomplish in your life, because you want to be far along in life, later on in life. And so burning a lot of time with a woman and trying to figure this out and this, that, whatever else, boom, go in there. Because see, before a relationship begins, you're trying to build attraction. When the relationship is established, you're trying to build desire. So you don't have a lot of time. If that basic foundation of attraction isn't there, there has to be that basic foundation where she looks at you and you look at her and you're like, yeah, our private parts could really connect, I mean, let's just boil it down to it. I mean, there has to be that basic raw attraction there. And if it's not there, don't waste your time trying to convince her. Yeah, it's there, because you got those women, they're out there, they're trying to be dick meat, and that's their entire purpose and intention. And if that's what you're looking for, well, may Allah have mercy on your soul. And you got those women out there who want to get married, they want to, have families and proper relationships and whatnot, but there's still that, that physical aspect of every relationship. So, the first thing you need to do is establish, period, as to whether or not there's some basic attraction there. And I don't like to beat around the bush about this stuff, because I'm not a guy who has a lot of free time. I got my homie here. He's not here. He's working, but he'll tell you, my day is packed. My week is packed. And so I don't have a lot of time to mess around. That's my take on the whole,
I think when I was younger,
approach and whatnot,
When I was younger, I was very like straight in, waste, you know what I mean? But I think as I've got older, sometimes when things are too easy, it just, do you know what I mean? Like sometimes I just like the whole. I think sometimes the courting period for me is better than sealing the deal, because sometimes when it's too easy, sometimes I think like, oh shit, I didn't even want it to be this quick. Do you know what I mean? Like you're talking to a woman and then next thing you know, she's just yours, and you're like, I wanted it to just wait a little bit before. Do you know what I mean? So that's just my personal. I like a bit of mystery in a woman. I like a bit of chase. but it gets harder and harder the more you level up in life. Then it's like there's hardly any
position of an attractive guy who's in a good position in London. So you have a very abundant mindset. You know, you have in this regard, your lifestyle is reflective of that of a woman. And that's not, I don't mean that in a negative way. I have this also. Alhamdulillah, it's gotten actually better the older I got, to where it's like I have such a high selection right now. And I'm not bragging for YouTube. I'm not bragging for likes, whatever. But in terms of people who understand my situation, that I'm a polygynous man, there are roughly 11 women who are ready to get on the team. I'm a Muslim. I can only have 4 wives. I have 2 positions open. But there's 11 women vying for that position. Do you see what I mean? So when you have an abundant mindset, it's kind of easy to take that position. The average guy doesn't have this, unfortunately. You know, and so, you know, even me, it's like I try and find ways to eliminate women. I literally like, I have got to get rid of you, you know, and I push them, and if you survive, oh man, you know.
Do you know what? I'm glad you said that, because I didn't really look at it from the average guy perspective. But that makes sense, because it's not hard, and sometimes it's boring, isn't it? Because it's just like, what is there? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
because the average guy does struggle, it seems.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, I see your Facebook, I see your Twitter, and you mean, mashallah, man, you got them hot sisters following you, man, mashallah. I be watching your Instagram or whatnot. I'm like, hey, man, you be holding out on the brother, man. What's up?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sharing is caring.
You know, I've got to the point where, because obviously a lot of people are always like, oh, you got so much girls that like you and whatever, and it's so, without being arrogant, I come from, like, I've got sisters that are 2 years below me, another 2 years below me. I grew up in a house full of beautiful women, in and out my house. So for me, it takes a bit more. Do you know what I mean? It's never been a struggle. My struggle is me keeping up interest. That's always been my struggle, staying interested, you know, because I need a bit more substance. I need a bit more, you know.
I want to come back to this, and Wraith makes a good point, and this is important for the average guys who aren't like just stacking women left and right. Now, again, I'm not bragging or anything, but look, Wraith says the problem is they consistently seek attention and lack focus for what is the proper attention. They're willing to seek any attention for the dopamine hit. Guys, and everybody says this, from the manosphere to not manosphere, the most valuable thing you hold as a man is your attention. Attention means everything to women. And they don't care, and I cover this in my vetting course, guys. I'm going to do a lot of plugs here. But they don't care if it's negative attention. You have the women who come online and they'll just argue all day. And then there's positive attention where it's like, you know, it's the pursuit or the likes or whatever else. And all of this stuff, they don't care how it comes to them, whether it's positive or negative. And you might think that's unbelievable, but if you are occupying yourself and your time with her as a man and she's a woman, she's loving it. And it's the same as us and men with money. Negative or positive attention, it's like dollars, euros, and British pounds. We don't care how we get it, just as long as the numbers add up. Women are the same way when it comes to attention. They get online, wondering, why do women like argue with guys so long? She's found this is the easiest way to occupy a man's attention and keep him 100% focused on her at all time.
Yeah.
Guys,
before we go on, I want to give a disclaimer, because all 3 of us are traditional men. We're not pickup artists. We're not pickup artists. So this information that we're about to give is not for the purpose of going out there and trying to sleep with as much women as possible or chase, because none of us 3 are like that. You know, we're all traditional men. We're all, you know, in situations or whatever. OGs. So the advice, because I would want this advice as well. As a young man, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've got 5 children with 3 different women. I've been in a lot of messy situations. If I'd gone back in time, I wish I could be able to spot a good woman from a young age and settle with her and be content. And then if I did want to, you know, have another woman, do it within the frame of my religion, which is polygamy, and so forth. So what advice would you give to a young man who is not trying to sleep with 1,000 women, or even if they are, how do they know how to find a good woman, and how do they go about it? Where do they look? How do they, what would your advice be?
Bobby, you want to jump in, or should I take off? I actually have right now, I'm at 51 pages on my betting course on this exact topic. So I got to be careful because I get too many freebies, won't nobody buy it.
Don't give too much. Yeah.
No, you'll be all right, man. No, here's
premium
the
content now.
If you follow the advice of these guys that sell online courses about how to pick up chicks and all that, you are going to get a low quality chick. And by low quality, I'm not saying she's necessarily going to be ugly. Okay. You might score one that's physically beautiful, but her mentality is going to be borderline idiotic. Okay. I've seen what these guys put out there, and a quality woman would not fall for these tactics, or go with the narrative that a lot of what the popular pickup guys or whatever put out there. It's not quality. You can't, a woman that has half a brain and maybe does have it going on for either financially or career wise or whatever like that, most of the time they're not going to fall for some of this stuff about like cheat on her to make her want you more, or put her on cam, or like any hey man, you know what I'm talking about. There's people out there that say that type of stuff, and it's like that's not going to get you a quality woman. Here's what's up as far as where to meet them and all that. It's more, it'd probably be easier to say where not to meet them than it would be where to meet them, because you could meet a quality woman just about anywhere, but there's some spots where you're almost guaranteed not to. You know what I mean? So it really depends. But what you have to do is when you're seeing these signs, like we were talking about earlier, right? Craig brought up a really good point. You have to be direct, but in a way to where you're not being a creep. Okay. Because there's dudes that, and a lot of them don't even realize they do it, I don't think, but because they're not used to withholding their attention, or they're not used to having a more abundant mindset. As soon as they see an opportunity, because dudes will lay up in the cut for years. You know what I mean? Like trying to be in that friend zone, they'll lay up in the cut for decades. Oh yeah, I'm here for you. This and that, right? But the second they think like something's on, it's just like, okay, yeah, I'm here. You know what I mean? And you can't come out that hard and crazy if you've been reading the signs off of a girl and haven't gotten into a relationship with her, but think that one is possible. You have to, I'm not saying you necessarily have to move slow, as in, take weeks and months to ask or whatever like that. But I'm saying that you have to be a gentleman about it. You can't be a weirdo about it, What was that one I missed? Women know which one direct and which. Hey, sometimes you do. But let me tell you something. You got master creeps out there. There are. There's some that have put their energy into the wrong, like instead of being like a stand-up guy, or being a guy that's like worthy, they like go with tactics. Technique. And it's like, So it's really about
the biggest. Sorry, my biggest problem, that I used to have, was composure. Composure was was something that would always, because most of the time everything's cool, but you know when you really like a girl, when you like really like her, not she's nice, but when you're like, I need this girl, I want this girl, that's when I F up. Back in the day, like that's when it would be like I might do something out of my normal laid back, relaxed, chilled out character. So that's when I might text or call more than I'm supposed to, or I'm just out of character. And that's really what kind of put you in the creep zone, because a lot of the time you're weirding them out without even realizing it. You know, it's like, all right, you just chill out a bit. You know, you're moving too fast. So composure is something that a lot of guys lack, and that can actually put them in the creep zone without them realizing it, even if they're not trying to use tactics or all of that. Lack of composure is a big turn off for a woman.
Yeah,
but this comes, you know, and unfortunately, I don't know how else to say it, but I mean, this comes with experience, I think, man. I mean, a lot of young guys are gonna have a hard time with this because a lot of young guys are in like a position of scarcity when it comes down to women. So they're gonna find it difficult to actually, like, you know, act upon that that advice, because when you're in a scarce position, when you have a scarcity mindset, it's kind of hard to act in an abundance one. You know, it's very easy for me to approach a woman now because it's like I said, I got 11 on stack. You know, so when I approach a woman, I'm like, wow, you know what? I mean, because this is when I say I do a direct approach. Guys might say like, oh man, that's old school game, but you know what? It still works for me. I will do a direct approach on the street. It's like, hey, you know what? I saw you, and I just want to come over and talk to you. Blah blah blah. There's no question, because women can understand communication better than men. When I say I saw you and I wanted to come talk to you, she knows that means this guy's digging me. There's no, you know, whatever else. But again, coming back to what Sadiq was saying, there's no creepiness in it, because I'm also like, you know what, if you say no, I'm going to consider this to be your loss, not mine. You know, so I have that posture, I have that communication, you know, in my posture and the way I'm approaching her. And I honestly feel that way. It's like, hey, you know, if you walk away, that is your loss. You know what I'm saying? You know,
well, a lot of that boils down to confidence too. So people can, not just women for men, but just people in general, they can tell a confident person from a mile away, and they dig it. You know, when somebody's got their confidence on display, it's like it's not necessarily a deal maker, but it's like it pushes things so far in your favor, you know, and that's not just in relationships, that's business, that's all different types of stuff, right? So when you have the confidence to do an approach, and you know, and by the way, I've done those myself, you know, same thing. Hey, you know, my name's Bobby, I was over here, you know, I saw you across the room, you're by yourself, that's a shame. You know, someone as pretty as you shouldn't be by yourself over here, you know, or whatever, right? Depending on what the scenario was. But it's a confidence thing, to where if you don't if it comes across to where you're just like, oh well, you know, I was thinking that maybe it's like it throws off, you're sealing your own failure, essentially. You know, like so there's that for sure. You know, I would say that if we're talking about mindset, you know, about how younger guys are going to have a hard time with that mindset, then the next logical step is to change the mindset. You know, get into the realization that that there are, and this is something that's so, you know, whichever kind of cliche, but there's a lot of women out there, plenty of fish in the sea. You know, it does you a disservice by being hung up on just one, especially if that one has no interest in you. You know. And there was something in the comments, just real quick. It said, this is Rishi wrote 2 in a row. How would you differentiate a quality woman and a virtual signaling beach? I know what he meant. I mean, some women can put up masks for as long as 5 years. Okay, well, here's the thing. So there's tells with everyone, okay? And what someone says isn't as nearly as important as what they do. Okay, what they are, right? So first of all, virtue signaling in and of itself doesn't mean anything, because that's it's talk. Anybody can talk, but see what they come from, what their habits are, what the way that they present themselves. I mean, dang man, you can tell a quality woman from a one that's not, oftentimes just by how they walk into a room. They don't even have to say a friggin' word. You can just tell by their walk. You can just tell by their composure, by the way that they carry themselves, that a lot of times. But it's not important about what they're saying or whatnot, and the other fact of the matter is Hemingway said, the way that you find somebody trustworthy is to trust them. Okay. So like you can't, there's always a little bit of gamble, always.
Yeah.
And if that little bit of betting is going to be like the deal breaker, then you don't need to have a relationship. You don't.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's like, oh, I might have to trust somebody, and they might get me, or they might, then you're not the one for a relationship, man. Go work on yourself, because that's what life is. Life is a series of choices, but you want to be in love, or you want to find that there's no love without trust. None of that. I mean, you need that. So it's part of the game, part of what it is.
I wanted to go ahead, please.
I wanted to go back to what was talking about the mindset, the scarcity and the abundance mindset, because I think that also plays a major role in everything. And I think a lot of young men don't see themselves. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of young men don't see themselves as the prize. It's the woman that's the prize. And the moment you see the world like that, you're always in a losing position. You have to see yourself as the prize. And obviously, as we're older, so we know what we've accomplished. We know the trials and tribulations that we've been through. So we already have that natural confidence because we know what we're worth. Where for a younger man who hasn't actually achieved much in the world, he hasn't actually stepped out and done anything, his finances are not at his optimum, he's not even gone into his physical frame as much, it's harder for them to see themselves as the prize, especially if they're trying to date women in their age group who are at their optimum in their sexual market value. It can be daunting for them, but this is where they need to go out there. They need to go and hit the gym. They need to learn how to carry themselves. They need to learn how to dress better. They need to, because good things are not just going to fall in your lap if you don't make an effort. You have to also do your part as a man to make your chances of securing a good woman more better. You can learn all the pickup lines in the world. You can learn all the game in the world. If you do not make yourself someone worthy of being confident, so you don't even have to fake confidence, you don't have to fake your confidence. You can actually do something to make yourself confident, and that's just, eat things, reading books, becoming more aware of the world you're in, increasing your general knowledge, going to the gym, learning a martial art, learning an instrument, do something beyond the norm. And you'll find once you do that, you'll have your internal confidence will build, and that woman will gravitate towards you, and it will just make your life a bit more easier. But if you're there obsessing over women in magazines, obsessing over women on Instagram, obsessing over celebrity women, and you're deifying them, you're putting them on a pedestal, and you're there talking with your boys like, oh man, I wish I could get this girl. I wish. You're losing, and you would never win unless you break out of that mentality. So a lot of the work is internal. Before you want to go out there and try to seek a high value woman, make yourself a high value man.
Yeah. I want to jump in there on the 2 points, the one that you brought up and the one that Bobby brought up. And I agree with you, both of you guys, but I want to kind of add on to this. Yeah, guys, this is a very important point. And society, Western society in specific, has taught men that they are not the prize, that women are the prize. Listen, we understand that, and if you don't understand, you're going to learn it now. Women want to be cared for physically, financially, emotionally by a man and more. They expect you to be able to do all of that stuff for her. This is why competent confidence, all these things are important to you as a man. You have to be well-rounded as a man. Listen, guys, and most guys don't want to hear this, but it's a simple fact is the burden of performance is upon you as a man. You have to get your stuff together. I remember the first time I was on Bobby's show. What's his show called? Handle your business. You have to handle your business as a man. You cannot be slacking off. It's not an option for you. A matter of fact, I went and climbed up this mountain. If you follow me on Instagram, I climbed up this crazy mountain yesterday. Just a quick story. Story.
I saw you.
It was a crazy steep mountain. Had like my drone, which is like almost 10 pounds with all the batteries. Had like this backpack because we got these 2 little kids, you know, with all their diaper changing drinks and stuff for them. And I had this stroller and my 13, 14 kg son had no idea that I was going to be climbing a mountain with him. Climbed up that mountain, got to the top, sweating heavy, whatever else, and, you know, and really it kind of like it hit me at the top of the mountain that this is your life as a man, that you're always going to be carrying the weight of not only yourself, but those around you who depend upon you. And it's never going to be easy. You're going to die with that. And it's a lonely battle. And my wife was kind of like, wow. She was like, you know, she's like, that's sad. I'm like, it is what it is. I wouldn't have it any other way. That's what we have to deal with as men. You're never going to escape that. So understand, with that perspective and understanding that when push comes to shove, and I had this conversation with another girl, I was like, you know, she was talking about my wife's Instagram. My wife's Instagram is like 85% about me. She's like, I found her obsession with you very disturbing. I'm like, no. I'm like, when push comes to shove, if society falls apart, if Black Lives Matter starts having protests in Germany and they defund the police, I got to make sure the house stays safe. If they burn down all the shopping centers, I got to go out and hunt the deer. And if robbers come to the door because they defunded the police, I got to kill whoever comes through the front door. And I might die protecting you and the family, or I might have to kill for protecting you and the family. Understand, gentlemen, that burden is upon you. Don't think that like the security of society has removed that duty from you, that you're just going to pick up the phone. Oh, police, please come be, you know, I'm calling you as a man to be the hero for my wife. No, that's your job. You know, the police are just backup for what you're supposed to be doing. She's supposed to be your fan because you are the absolute Superman of her life. Because when she wants to quit her job, you got to be able to pick up the weight. If you even allow her to work in the first place, that's a different conversation. If somebody comes and hijacks, mess with her, molests her, or whatever else, you are the one that throws the first punch. The cops come to sort out, you know, the knocked out guy on the ground. You are the prize because you have to handle everything for her. When something goes wrong, who do you think she comes to as a woman? If her car payments are late and she can't make it, she's going to go to her mom or dad, or she's going to come to you. She's going to come to you because she doesn't want to go to her mom and dad for that. That's your job in her eyes. Some guy molests or harasses her or whatever else, who's she going to come to? She's going to come to you. And who's going to have to handle the business? You are. No matter how or what no matter how you flip this, it's your job. And it's supposed to be like that. That's the way it's been since the beginning of time, and it's not ever going to change. Society can try and say what they want. You know, you can try and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take advantage and enjoy the decline and go with it. But you know what? It's not going to work for you at the end of the day because what you're trying to do is you're just trying to shortcut and get around and circumvent your burden of performance. So you are the prize, gentlemen, because under no circumstances is there a Wonder Woman out there. Wonder Woman is in the movies, and she's not going to come. She's not going to, you know, whip out her little and her bracelets and her lasso of truth and save your day. And even if she did exist, she'd want you to be Superman. And if you know the cartoon, Wonder Woman dates Superman because she wants a guy that's better than her. And Superman's a freaking next, with trust. And Bobby was talking about this is a very important point with trust. Trust comes also absolutely right. You cannot like have a relationship without trust. And you eventually you are as a man, even in the 21st century with feminism and all the laws that can jam you up as a man in the West. if you're going to enter into a relationship with a woman, there's going to have to be trust, and you're going to have to make that jump at some point. And this is where vetting a woman is very important. Now, of course, you can't, like, you know, you're not a soothsayer. You're not like, you ain't got a crystal ball or something where you can like see how she's going to turn out or how she really is in the next 10 years or how she was the 10 years prior. But you can do your due diligence, and you have to do your due diligence. Listen, guys, and this is in the first like couple of pages of my vetting course, but I'm going to give you a freebie again. Why is it, I actually covered this already, but I'm going to repeat it. Why is it that you guys, when it comes down to a business opportunity, you're going to sit there and like go over all the details, the percents, this, that, the other, what's the history of the company, did this, that, the other, and you're going to do massive research on these companies. But the moment some chick comes along with some half decent titties, y'all niggas go blind. Oh my God, titties. And you just jump into a relationship, and then a year later, you don't get to see them titties no more, and you like paying child support, or you're in a hashtag Me Too case somewhere in the courtroom, and she's standing over there looking like burnt goat toast because all you saw was titties. Do your freaking homework. Listen, everything that you deal with as a man is sort of like a business transaction. All of it involves risk. And especially in the 21st century when a woman has so much power. So you have to like look at mitigating the risks as best as you can. Everything's going to be a risk. There's great reward. I took a risk with my wife, you know, and man, I am happy. I got like, you know, I got videos. She ties my shoes. She does this. She does that. I go in the shower. She'll come in and, you know, wash my back. But it was a risk. And I took it. And it was a good gamble. But I tested her. And I went into this like investment company, and it was a risk. But it turned out to be a very good investment, you know. But I've lost money also. That guy Marvin on what's his name on Twitter, he got me for 2 G's. I took a risk and it failed, but I didn't do my homework. So guys, all of this stuff comes with your duty and your responsibility as a man. You got to take on your burden of performance and do your homework, man. Don't just be jumping into stuff all, oh my God, her hips are so small, her butt's so big. Heck, that hits me sometimes. But then. Yeah. Come on, guys, we ain't animals. You can control that. So, sorry.
That's a big problem. That's a big problem in my community in London.
I've been there. I know
the black community. A lot of us, yeah, we've got a distorted perception of the world, and a lot of it, you know, single parent households and all these things. So I've had to learn the hard way myself. We get into relationships and situations based on literally just by having a name on the street or being popular or even being good looking. You know, like we're actually, it's almost like a blessing and a curse, because we actually can get into situations that a lot of other people can't get into just by the bare minimum. But what that brings is that there's no actual understanding of the role of a man. Because me personally, I never saw the role of a man growing up. I never saw it. I never understood. No one ever told me, and I never saw it. Because all my friends ain't got their dad. Only two of my cousins had their dad, but you know, they were peripheral. So I've got into a marriage, my first marriage, and my wife at the time, she used to be like, why do you do this? Or why don't you do this? Because my dad does this, because she was Pakistani, so she's from a total different culture. And I used to be like, fuck your dad. Do you know what I mean? Go marry your dad then. And it took a while before I actually understood that, you know what? Why am I fighting the roles that I'm supposed to be doing? You know, like just basic things. I stopped. You know, the marriage crumbled, but I learned a lot from it, because I realized that I was fighting against the roles that I was supposed to be on, but because I hadn't been taught or haven't seen it, it was just a mess. You know, I was living in I'll be honest, because I've been at the bottom and I've had to build myself up to be who I am now. I was living in her house. I wasn't working. I was still on the streets. I was just you know what I mean? I was a mess, but you know, I looked good. I'm wearing a Rolex. I'm Mr. Big. So for me, I'm masculine. No one can't tell me nothing because my masculinity was based on my strength on the streets, you know, like my physical prowess or my level of violence. So that's how I judged my masculinity. I didn't judge it by providing, by being a protector, by being a nurturer, by just being a husband. You know, I thought I was the most masculine man around. A lot of unlearning, But then I've looked at my peers and the occupation I got into, which made me assess people that were homeless. 7 out of 10 relationship breakdowns was men in the same position I was, living in their woman's house. Relationship breakdown, they're packing up their bags, they're homeless, they wasn't working, they wasn't providing, but yet somehow their wife or woman is expected to stay with them, you know. They're up all night playing PlayStation, you know, just don't understand their role. So what you're saying, Craig, is that there's no way around it. You have to be a man. There's just no way around it. If you want a successful relationship with a woman, a lot of men don't understand that. Yes, some women don't understand even their role or their expectations. So they will get into relationships with you and they will accept the bare minimum. Oh, he's cute. Oh, he drives a nice car. And, he, you know, the love making is good. The moment they have a baby, everything changes. It's almost like their whole physiology changes. The way they look at you changes. They might have been all right with you playing PlayStation all night, smoking, but the moment you got a baby and you do that, they're looking at you like, what's this guy? What? Are you a man child or what? Like everything changes. So back to what we're saying, don't allow these things to happen. If you're not ready to step up, don't get into no relationship. Don't, because you'll lose.
Yeah. I have a question here, but I'm not really, you know, he says, Abu, can you elaborate on Miss Abu's last point of city life, where she said basically, I think a woman who can't leave big city life is not a choice. I have a video about this. It's on my channel here, unless YouTube pulled it off, Ninja, because they pull my videos down without warning lately. You know, they don't even give me a strike. They don't give me a warning. They just pull my videos, and I don't hear about it. Ninja, old goofballs. Anyway, look, Sadiq is from a big city. I think, Bobby, you're probably from a big city too, right? You're from you from LA?
Los Angeles, yeah.
Yeah, these guys are from big cities. I don't know what I'm about to say. I'm not from a big city, and I don't like big cities. My observation as a guy who ardently avoids major cities. This is my observation and my opinion, but these guys have actual practical experience, so take their words over mine. I tend to avoid big city women in general, and I'll tell you why. At least let me predicate that with with a condition. Any woman who wants to stay in a large city, I avoid like the plague. And I'll tell you why. When I was in London, a realization hit me. And this was, I can't remember how many trips back this was, but it was last year. I was in London and I was playing the online matrimonial thing because there's some online matrimonial Muslim sites. And I was matching like crazy. I was matching about like 11 women a day. It was unbelievable. I couldn't keep up with the messages and the women. It was just like bing, 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 bing. It was going nuts. And so I was meeting like 2 and 3 sisters a day. And so this is part of when I started coming up with my like rapid fire vetting system for women, because I was like, there's no way these women can all be good, you know. So I was like, I got to find a way to eliminate the women that don't have the attributes that I want, attributes that are completely unacceptable. And so I found a common thread amongst the women who were rapidly disqualified, and that was that they enjoyed and they actually wanted to stay in a large city. And you have to understand the large city environment. The large city environment is one that is advantageous to women, and it's one that's disadvantageous to men. And we're not talking about in the employment realm. We're talking about in the dating realm. And major cities seems to bring out the thirst in men, and so that gives women an extreme abundance mindset. And so any woman who really wants to stay in a city, when you start to query them, and you start to question them and ask them about why you really like a city, they can't really point to a clear point. Well, they can, but they won't tell you. And you know why they won't tell you? Because it has to do with male attention. They are there enjoying male attention. And she's not going to sit in front of you as a man she's potentially interested in and say, I like big cities because I get a lot of male attention. So she's going to beat around the bush, come up with all sorts of crazy, goofy stuff. And you're going to sit there and listen to her and realize this woman is just talking some crazy nonsense BS. And when you start to spot that pattern in these women, you know, then you come to realize that they're only there for male attention. I met women who are literally like borderline poverty. I mean, they're looking for free meals because they can't afford their next meal. And so they're on there looking for guys to feed them. But they would rather live like that than move out of the city with you to where she's, you know, quote unquote, fat and happy, you know, in a house, you know, food stocked up in the refrigerator. She'd rather go hungry for a day and stay in the city and keep male attention than move out into the countryside where she's not going to get all that. So when you deal with city women, make sure you're dealing with a woman who's not there just because she can get to. And I mean, you'd be surprised at how many women are actually struggling, but they'll stay in a city just because of male attention and how powerful it is upon them. This comes back to what I was talking about with, you know, how important male attention is to women. You know, I actually met a girl. She was literally, I'm not even exaggerating. She was literally, by definition, homeless. She's couch surfing from girlfriend's house to girlfriend's house. So right before I left London, I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to Germany. Marry me. She, you know, and come with me. She was like, no. Why would I leave my life here? I'm like, you're couch surfing in London. You don't have a life. Months after I'm here, I get my apartment, whatever else. You know, I'm buying furniture and doing all my stuff nice and easy pace, whatever else. I'm like, hey, look, the offer's still on. Come on over here. Listen, I'm not saying play Captain Save a Hoe. I don't know if she's a hoe or not, but I'm not saying do this. But I'm like, you know, I was like, hey, look, this is your opportunity. You know, come on over here. No, I'm not coming over to that country full of Nazis. I'm like, I'm a black guy in Germany. What are you talking about Nazis? I go to work here. You know? Dude, women out in cities. I don't know if that's what my wife's talking about, but that is my point from big city women. I don't know how Bobby and Sadiq feel about that, but this has been my observation as an outsider, always coming in and out of these cities.
Yeah, you know, some of them, the families there, you know, and girls like being by the family. Others, you know, it's like maybe it's an employment opportunity. You know, they've managed to get a professional life, and their employment is there or whatever. But for the most part, it very much is just like how you're talking about. There's this whole remember that show Sex in the City?
Yeah.
It would say, yeah, it was like these four hags that were, you know, sleeping around. One of them wrote about it, you know. Yeah, and that's like essentially it's like selling a dream on it, you know, that you can be this independent woman and be in a big city and like you said, get all the different male attention because males are thirsty and you know, the thing is this, just like you're gonna vet or look for certain attributes in any type of woman for that matter, there's going to be things that come up and things that you can either ask about in conversation or you can just kind of see for yourself through how they're living their life or whatever. So where not everybody's going to be desirable, you know. Rafe wrote something in here about you know, when did male performance become a burden? And then it was talking about when women wanted the same privilege as men, you know, they wanted equality, all that stuff. Well, you know, here's the thing. Not every woman's like that. You know, you have some that are not, that they don't want to be equal. They like being taken care of, right? But just like you have assholes and you have cool people, you through experience and knowledge and applied experience gain wisdom into telling who's who. And so if there is one that's like that, then that's not one you need to be chasing. Just don't lower your standards. What ends up happening is these dudes, they'll meet a chick, right? They'll like a couple things about her. They may even have like a vet list or something like, I will not go with a woman who does this. I will not go with a woman who does that, you know, or whatever. But because of that kind of scarcity mindset, or they're enthralled by the beauty or whatever you want to say, they start making exceptions to their list, right? Okay, well, I said I'd never be with a woman like that, but she really is this, and everybody has hard times once in a while, and oh, yeah. And so like these excuses, this bullshit starts coming up, and that's what you really have to do for yourself is don't shortchange yourself. Don't if you've got a certain way that you want to be, don't skimp on that. Don't compromise that because she's a 9. There's plenty of women out there, man. I'm telling you, like, and for young guys, that's hard, especially, biologically, they're being driven by hormones and they just don't have as much experience or whatnot. But you've got 3 older guys that have lived it, that are telling you, you gotta vet. You got to really look, and because the only one in the long run is you're just shortchanging yourself.
Yeah.
Indeed.
True.
Sorry, guys.
What are you doing?
I'm talking to my daughter. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No problem.
What Abu you said about the city life, I agree with Bobby on this. I think sometimes city life is a vibration, it's a frequency, and it's almost like people that have been on sea for most of their life, and then they get onto land, or everything's a bit different. Do you remember that film Waterworld?
Yeah.
Kevin Costner. Remember how he felt when he got on land? It was just strange to him. And sometimes rural life can come across like that, especially for those that are in the city. It is totally different. So with me, when we first started going outside of London to sell drugs in like small communities, it was so hard because the food from like the food shops are different. The pace of the people, you're getting people saying hello to you for no reason, and then to stand, and then you know what I mean, and then you're black on top of it, so you stand out like a sore thumb, and I literally would just stay in the house. I wouldn't even want to go out there to do anything because it was such an odd experience. But one thing I did see was with women that we were encountering, it was like a cheat code, because for them, we're from London, so the fascination was there. We were like celebrities, and I'm talking like before social media took off, where the world got a bit smaller. They were so fascinated for the fact that you got a couple black boys from London in their small city selling drugs. They want to know, they want to get to know you, they want to hang around with you, they want to, and a lot of them were naive as well, because they're not used to our level of game. They're not used to our so I can see why it can actually be advantage. The advantage can actually be when the city guy going into a smaller place, and on the flip side, a lot of the girls from the city, they will carry an air of superiority to, especially when encountering guys from smaller cities. They might actually feel that, yeah, I'm from London, I'm a Londoner, you're from Birmingham, I'm superior, or I'm better than you, I'm paying more rent than you, you know what I mean? So there's lots of different nuances, but I wouldn't write off a woman totally if she wanted to remain in the city, mainly because I'm a city guy. I like my partner now, she's from the outskirts, so she prefers to be in the outskirts, and I'm like, I want to be back in the middle. I was in the heart of the city. I grew up in the heart of the city. So I'm like, I kind of want to go back. I miss the razzmatazz and the lights and the noise. And so that's our little push and pull. But personally, I wouldn't hold it against them. But if it's for the reason of male attention, then that's a red flag anyway. If if any action that is done by a woman for the sole purpose of remaining in the dating pool, then yeah, that's a red flag. But if it's for reasons like what Bobby explained, like family, work opportunities, just the general flow of city life, nice restaurants, nice cafe, bars, there's nothing really wrong with that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, people they say that most people don't ever leave a 50-mile radius from where they're born. Like they'll live their whole life within a 50-mile radius of where they're born. So a lot of that's just comfort. It's what they know. It's what they were brought up or used to. There was a question that came up, said about what do you do if a woman tells you that she's feminist the first time she meets you? Ugh. Here's the thing. We're talking about. Yeah, is she hot? See, that's your doll. If she says that she's a feminist the first time she meets you, that was his question.
Right here.
Here's the thing. So we were talking about like a woman giving you cues, right? Then you make your move, you ask her out without being a creep. Okay. The next thing where you can go with that is you don't need to go all big. Okay. You don't need to be like, hey, let's go out. There's this 5-star restaurant that I want to take you to, whichever. Don't start there. Okay. Start with coffee. Do it during the day. Hey, maybe, let's get a coffee Saturday afternoon or whichever like that, right? Because here's the thing with that is that A, it's cheap. Okay. B, it can be real fast if things start going south. Okay. So like if you do start talking and, right off the bat, it's, I'm a feminist and I'm this and that or whatever, you could still be polite, because you never know how she may affect your life down the road. But it's like, oh man, I got this call. I got to handle this, whatever, and then just bounce. Right. It's also something that you could prolong. Like if you are vibing with her, you can have another cup of coffee, get a water, you can stay, but you don't need to go from 0 to 100 like immediately. Start with the coffee, screen her there, see what she's like there. It's an engagement that doesn't have to take a long time. And then if she passes that little screening there, then take her out. Because when you take her to dinner, then you get to see like, okay, does she care enough to where she wears something nice? How does she look? How does she walk? How does she act? Is she like trying to, make eye contact with every man in the room? You could see these little things about her when you do put her in a nicer setting, and you get to continue with the vetting process a little bit. It's changing it up, and it's impressive too. You pick a nice place, but start the first time you take them out. I wouldn't say, unless you've known them. Like, unless this is somebody you've known for a long time, you know all about the person pretty much already. I would start small. Hey, let's grab a cup of coffee at I know this cool place. And it just gives you an easy out should things start going the way of the feminist.
Yeah. I got a little take on this. Since you were addressing this, my humble opinion is any woman who tells you she's a feminist the first time she meets you, man, take that cat, put it back in the bag and throw it in the river with a few rocks in there. Listen, don't.
No. Well, that's but Abu, quickly on that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women actually say they're feminists, but they're not. Because I've seen women that say they're feminists, but they're actually traditional. So I'm like, what's your, I tend
to run across the opposite. Women that say they aren't feminists, but the more you dig and the more you explore, they actually turn out to be quite, core feminists. So, but any woman who's announcing she's a feminist, she's actually made that ideology a part of her character and her personality.
Correct.
She's saying, I am a feminist.
Right.
What the heck does that mean? It means she believes at some point or in some way or fashion that is part of her as an individual and as a personality.
Right.
You don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Nope.
I mean, it's not a physical attribute. It's an ideology. And that ideology, when we look at it, it is a hot mess. It is partially why we're even having this discussion right now, why things like red pill and the manosphere exist, why the West is like having a lot of problems, is because of the concept and the idea of feminism. So any woman who announces, right, like, hey, I'm a feminist, they'd be like, oh God, well, you know, I have a few illnesses too, but you know what I'm saying? I don't just start off with those, you know what I mean? No, I don't have any illnesses, but it's just, you know, so you get the point. You know, you don't want to mess with a woman who's like, you know, feminist-minded, feminist, you know, whatever else direction. Again, this is actually something I start off very early as a hardcore disqualifier for women's in my vetting course. Feminists, and I listed different types of feminists there are that I've identified. You don't want to mess with them, because no matter what you do, at some point or another, you're going to end up in some sort of existential battle in the relationship with this woman over the ideology of feminism. Imagine the situation, Rishi. You are out doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're handling your business. You're the man. You're competent. You're confident. You know, you're working hard. You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You go out and you come back home to a woman who believes in her heart and in her mind that you're supposed to come home and like start washing, cooking, cleaning, doing dishes, changing nappies, and all this type of other stuff. You know what I mean? On top of doing all your duties as a man. You have to understand, one of the primary things with these women who are feminists, but they want to be in relationships, they don't want a traditional relationship. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. It just went poof.
So a lot of these women who say that they're feminists who go into relationships with men, they don't want a traditional relationship of any sort or form. They want all of the benefits of feminism while having all the benefits of what they like to call chivalry. You know, so they want it all. They're women who want, you know, male deference, and then they also want societal deference through feminism. Any woman who starts off with that, dude, she's telling you right off the rip, you, sir, you're going to be my whipping boy for everything. And when I got a problem with men at work, I'm going to come home and I'm going to give you crap for it. You know, she's never going to be totally or entirely happy with men. I can give you an example from my life. I met this girl, beautiful, beautiful Moroccan girl. Her mom and dad, she comes from a two-parent household, stable family. Mom and dad have been together for like over 30, 40 years. Actually, over 40 years if I do the math. I don't know for sure, but it has to be coming up on 40 years. All she did was complain about the relationship that her mother has with her father. Now, they live in Germany. Although they're Moroccans and have a traditional, you know, family structure, all she did was complain about her father. I don't like the way my father treats my mother. I don't like this. I don't like that. My dad does this. I don't like the way he, you know, it's more traditional, this, that, the other. And I'm like, look, your mother is in Germany where she has like extreme power in the relationship as a woman. You know, they're legally married. She can really just walk out the door, be taken care of by the German government tomorrow. You know what I mean? But your mom stays. So you're complaining about something that your mom is not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Your parents' relationship from the perspective of, you know, modern feminist ideology and indoctrination that she got in Western schooling as a Moroccan woman. And her mom's completely, if her mom wasn't happy, her mom could walk out the door. You know, she knows that. She could probably, for all I know, she tried to convince her mom to walk out of the door and she's still there. So do you really want to deal with a woman who's looking like this? She's looking at her parents' relationship and she's looking at it in a negative way. And her parents' relationship, no matter how it may seem, and I asked her, is your father abusive? No. Does your father curse her? No. I'm like, so he doesn't hit her, he doesn't curse her. So what's the problem? I just don't like the way she does everything. She does this, she cooks, she cleans, she yada, 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 yada. I'm like, yet and still here they are in 2020 together.
Yeah.
After 40 years. So you want to take a model of reproductive success that is absolutely functioning well, and you want to flip it on its head just because you don't like the idea of like serving your man coffee and doing the dishes afterwards, you know? And she says, I'm not a feminist. So any woman who comes out the gate talking about I'm a feminist, to me, that's just automatically, it's like she could be trying to test me, congruence test me, whatever else. And you know what? I'm done with you. I'm out. I'm done. Don't mess with that stuff, bro. You know, you don't come out the door like talking about you know, do you come to a date with a woman first time you meet her? Hi, I'm Red Pill. Hi, I'm from the manosphere. Do you do that? Can you imagine your mind doing that? I have
misogynist tendencies. How are you?
Think about that. How ludicrous if you did that. That's how ludicrous she is. But we give women a pass because we want to bang them. Stop it, guys.
Yeah.
Don't accept that stuff.
Yeah.
You don't show up, hi, I got crossbows, I got weapons, hi. I'm a guy who likes guns. What?
Oh.
I don't care. Why would you start with that? Why would you start with that? Oh God, please. My bro, I love you, but you're gonna give me conniption fits. I just had coffee, I'm gonna get an aneurysm. Don't accept that stuff.
Don't do it, man. You know, Richie says the thing is that all girls are being taught feminism in school. It seems like there's literally no girl who has not been brainwashed. Okay, so check it out. I said this earlier. I'm going to say it again. It is a kind of media hot button thing, right? To where it's something that's pushed in popular culture or whatever. You see the talk of it or whatever. But there are plenty of women, if not more women, who are not feminists, who do appreciate and want a traditional relationship. There are plenty like that out there. It could be that maybe you're in the wrong stomping grounds. It can be that maybe you're attracted to a certain type and don't realize it. So, you know, I know that may sound kind of funny, but you know, sometimes we like these type of women, right? They either talk a certain way, look a certain way, a combination of the two, you know, act a certain way. And these types will have issues, right? You ever heard the thing like men end up marrying a woman like their mother, you know, or women end up marrying a man like their father, right? It's because they've seen a certain type that they identify with or whatever, and they go for it. It could be that those models, those type of people, aren't what's congruent with what you want. But there are plenty. I would venture to say more who don't want a friggin' thing to do with feminism. Plenty of women just do not. It's the same way within the media when they push everything else and they say like if you were to you know, looking at Netflix, at HBO, at any other, you know, thing. If you had never been to America, you would think that the whole country was just a bunch of gay and lesbians. You know what I mean? Like if you'd never been there, you would think like, damn, man, that's just the land of the queer and the home of the gay. You know, like it's just that's what you would think. However, you go there, and it's a very, 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 very small segment that is actually like that. Everybody else, they're straight. Okay, but because you know the entertainment industry or however they've got control of the screens. Okay, and there's agendas to be pushed. You know, a lot of the people in the entertainment industry are in fact gay. That's what ends up going out there, and that's what everybody sees. So even though feminism is out there on the screens, it's not as popular with women as you might imagine.
Yeah. You know, and here's another thing, and this is going to be an unpopular statement, but I will say it. Sorry. Let me get this. Oh, man, this thing's being difficult. Okay, whatever. Guys, when sorry, I lost my screen. Where am I? A lot of women, when she's really into you, she's going to be whatever you want anyway. Look, listen, you have to understand women also. Women love to follow. Women generally don't want to lead. If you meet a woman that wants to lead, you need to get rid of her anyway. But in general, a woman who's in her feminine state, she hasn't been damaged by society or Western society. You know, it doesn't matter what society. It doesn't matter if it's West, because we got feminists everywhere in the world. If she's not damaged and she's in her feminine state or a primarily feminine state, she's going to want to be led by a man. This is not a bad thing. We're going to say this, and it is what it is. Now, if she's coming out the door again talking about like, you know, I'm a feminist or whatever else, she's already trying to set a frame with you that this is what I am and I'm ready to fight this. Generally, any woman that you want, you can make her or you can mold her into what you want because she's going to want to do that anyway. Listen, women, gosh, should I just sound like a misogynist pig right now, or should I mean, I'm just gonna say, I'm a misogynist people today. Listen, a woman is gonna want to be molded by you when she's really into you. When you're that guy for her, she's gonna do what you want to keep you happy. This is any and all women. And if she's not, then you're not that guy for her. And so that means, you know what? You need to see it that way also. Well, you know what? I'm not that guy for you. Because women who are into you will do whatever it takes to keep you in their lives. And so she is not going to come out of the gates trying to set some sort of frame with you. You know, they're like, oh, well, I'm a feminist. And, you know, that means you got to take me how I am. A woman who's really into you is going to try and feel out, what is this guy on? Like Bobby said, you're going to be the funniest guy in the room, even though you might be, you know, making flat jokes. She's going to do what it's take to make sure that, you know, everything about you is her top priority. You'll tell the lamest jokes and she's going to think they're the funniest. She's going to act like they're the funniest because she's going to do everything to support that building of that relationship with you. If she thinks you want your coffee without milk, you know what she's going to do? She's going to make you coffee without milk. If she thinks you want it with sugar, she's going to make it with sugar. It doesn't matter what she might be a health food nut. Example, Becky. Becky was a personal trainer. Sometimes I like to eat bread and whatever else. She never bought bread or carbohydrates in general. But you know, when I was dealing with her in London and whatnot, you know what she did? She bought that stuff that I ate. Not because, you know, and there was no like, well, hey, she would say, hey, you know what, this is not healthy, whatever else. But if you want to eat it, baby, you know, I'm going to make whatever you want. So, you know, these are things you got to look at, you know. I'm not trying to go into too much detail here. I'm trying to I'm trying to be general but specific at the same time. But the simple fact of the matter is a woman is going to yield and become what you want her to be. And I know that sounds crazy, but I got a video about this too. Is she really your girl? And I made this like 5-6 years ago. And here's the thing. Most guys are married to or dating, not most guys, but a lot of guys are married to or dating girls that are not their women. She's a mixture of whoever the hell she wants to be and, you know, the girl that was with the ex guy. It's like going out and buying a car. And I know I sound like a misogynist here, comparing women to cars, but it's an appropriate comparison. You know, I like making them for guys. Women flip out, but guys, we know what I'm talking about. You go out and you buy a car, and everything about it you're like, man, this thing is nice. You know, it's beautiful. What's that? We're talking about the exterior here, the physical beauty of a woman. Get inside the car, the mentals, and it's like the mirrors adjusted to some guy who's 2 feet shorter than you. You know, the side mirrors are pointing off into the sky. The steering wheel is like up here, you know what I'm saying? And the seat's like up on this. That's your girl when you're dealing with a woman who's not really into you. She's going to be and do whatever the hell she wants. That's what you did. You bought a car and you can't adjust anything. The outside looks great, but the inside, it's almost undrivable. You can't control it. And someone's got to be the captain of the ship. Someone's got to steer that car. And she expects you to be that guy. But at the same time, she's resisting you and making it difficult for you to do that. Why would you stay in that situation? Guys love, you know, and I'm taking from some guys in the sphere, but I'm going to say guys like to make their lives difficult. The signs are all right there and you ignore them because, oh my gosh, my pee-pee's getting wet consistently for once. Guys, really, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And this is 90% of the problem that we're seeing right now. This is why the manosphere exists, and it doesn't really have to, simply because guys don't pay attention to their gut. They don't pay attention to the signals and the signs that are right in front of their face. And it could be because there are no real male figures, you know, in our lives. I love my dad to death. I love my dad to death. We have a very tumultuous relationship, but he didn't teach me anything about women. And when I look at my dad, he is a mess with women. My sons won't be the same. They already see how I deal with women, and they learn from me. So maybe this is the case that we're dealing with this, but now at 48, this stuff is very intuitive to me. It's like, you know, you have to pay attention to what she's doing. And if I get in that car and every time I want to start it up, you ever had one of them cars that got like the automatic seats adjustment? I had like this GMC Acadia. And you press the button and it automatically adjusts to whoever the driver is. You know,
I got that in my Audi. Yeah. You
get in and no matter what button you press, that steering wheel's going all over the place. The mirrors are moving all over the place. You're like, God dang, this just ain't my car. That's your girl. You need to pay attention if that's your girl. You know, and she's coming out the gates, I'm a feminist. Well, you know what? I don't really like feminists. I met an Algerian girl, feminist in London. Guys, I know I go on these rants. I apologize. But I met this feminist girl in London. And you know what she stopped being when it was like, you know what? I really want this guy and he doesn't like feminists. She stopped being a feminist until I lost interest in her because, you know, she just finally wouldn't make that final step and get married. Then she went back to being a feminist after I ditched her. But when I was at that point, seriously discussing marriage with her, feminism went out the window. You know why? Because for the guy she wants, she'll be what he wants.
Yeah. I agree.
She'll not only be what he wants. She'll I mean, if she's really quality woman, she'll promote what he wants, you know. So like if he's got certain hobbies or activities, you know, she'll help it or encourage it or do what she can to help facilitate. You know, here's the problem, man. We're talking about the necessity of, you just touched on something about how, you know, the red pill's not really necessary, but you know, we have it because people have made these errors in judgment. They don't trust their gut or whatnot. And you know what the real problem is with this is it's entitlement, because men, they believe like they're owed a relationship, owed a woman. I'm a man. Okay, there's women out there. So like I get a woman too. That guy's got a woman. He's got a woman. I get a woman, right? When the fact of the matter is, they ain't got no experience. They haven't built themselves into nothing but a pile of bricks, okay? And they don't deserve a woman. They aren't at the point to where they should even be thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
So they make these, they get into a relationship, they make errors, and then they go, oh, this fucking bitch, excuse my language, you know, but it's like, it becomes like it was her, you know? And okay, yes, it takes two to tango, right? Sure. However, man, accept responsibility for your part. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have never been getting into that to begin with, to where that woman either played you as easy as she did, or you were not vetting. You just had no idea, right? You need that experience. You know, people
driving with no license.
Yeah. You know, the thing with experience, right, is that it's a lot of trial and error. Okay.
Yeah.
However, you still don't you still don't undertake something that can have that much influence on your life without a modicum of any type of study or you know, process at all. And that's what ends up happening, is a lot of dudes will just dive both feet, you know, just right in, right? And then something happens and it's just like, oh, you know, well, she's a whore. Look what she did. Look what she did to me. You know, and it's like, oh, bro, you know, and then it happens again and again. You know, one of the things my grandma used to say all the time. I was raised by this old Italian lady. One of the things she used to say all the time: "Fool me once, right? You know, if they fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." Yeah. Right? And these fools just keep getting fooled. You know, and then the red pill community or the manosphere community capitalizes off of that by saying about, like, it's her. Oh, it's all these feminists and all these crazy broads in the world, you know. And it's like, no, bro, look, you need to work on who you are. You need to work on what your own process is for being in a relationship. You know, not everybody deserves it.
You know, guys aren't ready for that conversation. I said, guys aren't ready for that conversation. Yeah. Women are an extreme amplified mirror of everything you are as a man in terms of your weaknesses. Listen, women have to, and guys, this is for the crowd more than anything else, women have traditionally had to, and they still have to be very selective about who they have a relationship. Now, of course, this has changed when we're talking about, like, you know, just, you know, Tinder bang me. This is different. But when it comes down to the basic foundation of her biology is still the same, even if she's being Tinder bang me. Is basically, if you're weak, she's not going to want to deal with you. Yes, there are women out there that are a mess, absolutely. But there's also men out there that is a mess. And that's why there's men out there, because there's men out there that are a mess, women are out there that are a mess. Listen, we are the leaders, you know, and we lead society and culture the direction that we want it to be. Guys are like, oh, women, this, that, the other, blah, 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 boo-hoo, me, women. Yeah, okay, but who let them get there? Right. Guys are, and this is what bothers me the most about a manosphere, and this is why I said I had to leave red pill or calling myself a red pill Muslim and all this stuff. It's because guys are out here creating the very environment that they don't want to see. There's nothing but whores. Learn game, bang whores. My niggas, what are you talking about? You know, and then when you got a woman out there who obviously cannot pair bond because, you know, everybody's done, you know, read the book on game and 18 guys, you know, done ran meat through her and she's like all messed up in the head. Well, whose fault is that? When guys are out here talking about like, you know, all women are whores and I'm going to go bang that guy's wife because if I don't bang her, somebody else will. I literally hear guys in the manosphere say that stuff.
Yeah.
Why? What kind of mentality is that? All women are whores. But, you know, and then this guy who's got a marriage and his wife is in a position where it's like, you know, she might be dealing with a moment of weakness or whatever she's dealing with, because women can be an emotional wreck and mess. Well, you know what? If I don't bang her right now, somebody else will. Well, what kind of hell of desperate weirdo crap stuff is that? I thought you guys were like game player, super abundance mindset. I got women left and right type of guys. I don't want to bang anybody's wife. If I know a woman's married, she's just off limits to me. I don't care how hot she is. I don't want anything to do with her. That's occupied hoo-ha. You are a cuckold for messing with that lady, in my humble opinion. And I get into a lot of arguments with this. So guys are out here in the manosphere creating environments and situations and societies that they themselves don't like to see or live in. So you guys are a leader. Women are a reflection of everything that men wanted. We wanted to, you know, the sexual revolution, all that stuff. We let it happen. We see this in other cultures and other societies where they're like, you know what, we're going to pump the brakes on this. And if you don't like it, you're going to get messed up. Or we're going to kick you out of our society. But you are not going to stay here and mess up our society. They are still active in the world. We see it to this day. So you have to ask yourself, what's preventing you from doing this on a macro level? You don't have to invite just any and every woman into your life just because, oh my God, there's a woman. It's a scarcity mindset. Build yourself, do your work, and then it's that whole build it and they will come. And what's important to you is now not letting in women who are there to just take what you built. You know, like... It's true. It's a list like the most richest women in the world. Like I think the top 20, like something like 16 of them are from divorce. Well, who told you guys to go out and marry these type of women, man? You know what I'm saying? Like again, like I said, you're gonna do all this hard work. You're gonna do the homework. You're gonna learn how to make money. You're gonna learn how to build your body. You're gonna learn how to build your mentality and all this type of stuff. But then when it comes to a woman, oh my God, titties! And then you wonder why you got problems with women.
That's what's up, though. That's what's up.
Let me tell you guys a secret. All women got titties and hoo-ha. You ain't got to just take the first one that comes across your path. No. Do your homework, guys. Do your homework. And that's why I dropped the link inside there. That's why, and it's not even close to finish. I'm going to release no matter what, and we're going to do updates. Once you have access to the course, you have access forever. When I do the updates, you got access for free. I am doing the vetting course. 51 pages so far. You guys got to stop this BS, man. It's really not that hard. I did everything so you don't have to. I did it intentionally. A lot of you guys are out here doing this stuff, just stumbling through the dark, like if you can't read just as well as I can. But fine. I'm mad now. Sorry. I collated this into one finely condensed package for you guys. And I'm not doing a sales pitch, but it sounds like I am. But I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. Because it's like Bobby said, guys are out here capitalizing on this stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when you listen to them, they're a freaking hot mess themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I started. Guys say stupid stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Save yourself and don't let women fall into this, but then at the same time, go for that bear trap hoo-ha over there. Ooh, God, sorry.
Bro, that's why I started calling them out a couple weeks ago. I just had enough because I get dudes that like they'll DM me and like they'll ask or say just the most outrageous, ridiculous stuff. And then they'll be like, yeah, well, so-and-so says that blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh man, you know? And then like you go to so-and-so's whatever, and it's like, oh, I've made this much money and helped this many people and and it's like, man, you are like pitching just the worst message, you know? And we gotta get it out there to where it's like, look, just because you have a penis doesn't mean you are owed a vagina. Okay, there is work that needs to be done on yourself, and that's where a lot of people are missing it, man, because they think like, you know, they can read a book, you know, by somebody that's been divorced 15 times and like there's going to be some magic in there or something. It's like, no, man. Got to get that experience. Got to get that confidence.
All right, guys, give me a second.
Yeah, no problem. I've been having do you know what the SMC is? It's like the system, whatever thing in a computer. It like controls like the battery, the charging, all that stuff. I've been having, I had to reset it now twice in my MacBook because when I plugged it in, it was saying that it wasn't charging. So you reset it, and then it the charging comes back up. So one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm cycling my battery. I'm running it down. I haven't had my MacBook plugged in like 3 days. So right now it's at 6%. And when it gets down to like 1 or 2, then I'm gonna plug it in real quick. Be like, all right, you're gonna get the charge all the way from nothing.
Sorry, what did it say? What does this guy say? He said, Abuamerican, you said if a woman is creepy and bad, you have to leave her. So if you have children with her, this is a big problem. Listen, man, what is his name? Fars. What is it? His name, I'm trying to read his name.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm trying to read my Arabic. I'm rusty on Arabic. Listen, bro, let me come back to a personal story. I have an ex-wife in London, and I didn't do due diligence. I didn't do my job properly in checking her out. I followed the Islamic process, and I'm not saying the Islamic process is wrong or is bad, but I didn't think that by following the process, I would have to do my research on the woman. I figured that she would be straight because I married this woman through the masjid. So I went to the masjid. I registered with them for marriage, and I said, hey, look, I want to get married, this, that, the other. And walking out the masjid, some brothers heard me, and it was like, hey, look, you know what? We got this girl. She's my niece or something like this. She's looking to get married, and let's sit down and talk. So we sat down and we talked. Had a big conversation, whatever else. We talked for like maybe 2.5 hours. We talked multiple times. They was like, hey, we're happy with you. Are you happy with us? I said, yeah, sure. I said, but I don't know the girl. And so I arranged the meeting, went and saw her. I was pleased with what I saw. She was an attractive woman, still is an attractive woman, mashallah. And her religion seemed in order, and it is, her religion is in order. But that was about it. I did all my contact with her through the wali, through the wakil. It's 100% Islamically correct, and I'm not saying it's bad or wrong, but I didn't do my homework. Right at that point, I should have actually had community, whatever else, doing checks on her, finding out about her from friends, family, whatever else, potentially even her ex, although I don't advise this because there's a lot of bitter feelings, but there's some truth in a lot of these people's stories. So sometimes you need to check this stuff. Anyway, I married the sister, and I have a kid with her now. Similar to Sadiq, I have 9 children, but with 3 women. She's one of them, and I have a daughter in London, absolutely stunningly beautiful daughter. I mean, mashallah, just good mix, but the woman herself, she was dealing with a lot of problems, emotionally, and types of other stuff, insecurities. All women deal with insecurities, but how they self-care with these insecurities is something that also needs to be followed up, with you as a man, that you need to check that when a woman is, whatever her insecurities are, you need to find out how she deals with self-care and those things. And I didn't do any of that homework, all this stuff that I know now to do. And just simply because I was like, and I don't want to go into this whole alpha beta dichotomy conversation, but I was obviously like a very strong male, influence in her life. Quote unquote, I guess you could say somewhat of an alpha influence in her life. And so she didn't give me a hard time in the divorce. She didn't chase me up for child support. I haven't had a wife chase me up for child support, although the German government chases you for it, but I've never had anybody file it against me. And that's actually over now, So she makes it easy for me to visit the child or whatever else. So no matter what, it still comes back to the point that you have to do your part. And if you are a positive male and masculine influence in this woman's life, even if the relationship doesn't last, and it didn't last because I wasn't willing to deal with her stress and her problems and her craziness, because then that makes you stressed out as a man, and it makes you crazy, and it throws you off balance as a man because you have no break, because the burden of performance never ends. And so you need a break. And that's what home is for. And if you come home and you can't catch a break, well, what happens when you got to go out and compete the next day? You've had no rest cycle. Nobody goes to the gym 7 days a week lifting heavy. Nobody does it. Yeah. It's the same thing with you, your mentality, your mind, it's a society. And if you don't have a rest day, something's going to break. You're going to get an injury, whatever else. This injury for you can come out in bad ways. And I'm going to say this live on air. At one point, I was dealing with this in Qatar, where it's like I didn't get a break because I was just marrying women, left and right. I had 2 women in one house. I had a woman in Germany. I was trying to gather more up. And I didn't check out these women. I was just grabbing left and right. I was just like, you know what, Dad, come here on board. Are you on board? Come on board. And it turned me into a person that I haven't been since then, and I don't want to be. And I don't like to say this, but, I was a man who ended up putting hands on women. And it's not something I do. It's not something I enjoy. And I said, I'm never going to be that person again because something inside is going to snap. And I made a video about this also. Yeah. A man has 2 settings, fight or flight. He doesn't want to fight his woman. He doesn't want to run from her. But women can put you in that position if you're not doing your homework as a man. And if you don't do your homework as a man, you're going to be faced with that one day because women don't have a chill button. Once they find out that there's a gap that they can fit into in your mind, they're going to dig inside there and then they're going to take a crowbar. And like I said, she's a mirror amplification of everything that is not good in you. And she's going to pry it open and start throwing crap in there. And it's going to drive you crazy. And that's your fault because you allowed it. So don't talk about the woman creepy, this, that, the other. You have a baby. What about this? It's your fault for not doing your homework. You have to take control of the situation. Women in general do not have emotional control in general. It's like men in sexuality. Men in sexuality is like women and emotions. And the thing is like this. We have control of our sexuality, but it's hard and it's not easy. And we are shamed as men in society for going out and running through everything we can get our hands on. But women are not shamed in society for not having emotional control. And so they don't control their emotions because they don't have to. Now, some women recognize they have to control it and they understand it's a problem. And those are the women you want in your life. You don't want these women who are just out here and then just boom, one day the next, you don't know who you're dealing with, Dr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde. And so I walked away from that marriage, on my terms, how I wanted, because I realized, this was a mistake. I didn't do my homework. And and I was becoming that angry guy where I was like, it could be the case that I might actually just, up and karate chop this woman one day. I said, I don't want to be that guy. I'm going to walk away. And I walked away from that marriage. So for you, my good man, the problem with children and all this stuff, it's a problem if you didn't do your homework and you were just happy to go ahead and just, and now you got a kid. And instead of thinking, you were just, and you weren't thinking, you were just screwing. And you ended up in a situation now that because you didn't do the work, you didn't front load the work, now you're dealing with problems later. One way or another, you're going to have to do the work. Now you're stuck with a non-front loaded problem. Now you've got a whole problem of a child and a family and whatever else, instead of doing that due diligence and the heavy lifting early on to see if she was even worthy of the situation that you're going to be in now. You got to, one way or another, you're going to deal with the problems. So deal with the problems up front before a kid comes in. This is important. So he talked about this earlier on. He talked about it. He has multiple children with multiple women also, and that is just because he was living a different lifestyle. The stories are the same, guys. You just got to put this stuff together and see, okay, Bobby's got lucky, not lucky, but, he was smarter than us guys, I guess, or he had a different experience. But we're telling you from experience and now living different lives, don't make these mistakes, guys, Yeah. And even when you do things correctly, Islamically, you still got to do
that's very important. Very important.
Yeah.
Can I add to that?
No, please.
What Craig said. Craig, I couldn't have put it better myself because I think I mentioned a situation where a brother of mine married a sister. He went through the normal process, and the girl was a demon, One thing that a lot of guys have to realize is that you're not there to fix nobody.
Yeah.
You're not there to fix anybody. This whole concept, this Western concept of someone is supposed to complete you is rubbish. A woman is supposed to complement you, not complete you. And you're not supposed to complete her. Her happiness should be internal. What you find is that a lot of women have got past traumas. They got past trauma, and that's something that can have an effect on your relationship. So she might tick a lot of boxes. You know, she might be pleasant. She might have religious belief systems, shared values, all sorts of things. But one thing you're not always going to be prepared for is trauma that she might have, however it's come about and how it manifests in her life. It might manifest through insecurities. It might manifest through paranoia. It might manifest through lack of self-care. It might manifest through destructive behavior. You always can't tell at the beginning. So this is why it's very important, like what Abu was saying, when you're doing due diligence, ask about past trauma. You'll be surprised what comes up. Ask them about what sort of traumas have they gone through that have shaped their life. And you'll find out that some things are not always their fault, but you have to now, you have to make a decision that, okay, she's been through this traumatic experience. I'm aware of it now. I'm not going in blind. I'm aware of it. Can I deal with this?
Yeah.
You're not obliged to deal with it. You're not obliged to be, because you will be a therapist.
Yeah.
You will be a therapist, whether you like it or not. You will be a therapist. You'll be in that relationship talking her. We're therapists anyway. You're going to be a therapist in any relationship you're in with a woman. You're going to be a counselor. You're going to be all sorts of things. But with someone that's got extreme trauma, they'll project things onto you that you don't even know where it's coming from. Then you now have to you now are responsible for their happiness all of a sudden, because you have to have the answers. And it is the most draining thing in the world when someone is projecting an energy towards you that you don't even understand yourself. So it's very, very important to vet their emotional background, their trauma, and you have to make a decision whether you could deal with it or not. And it doesn't mean she's a bad person. Learn to separate good and bad when it comes to relationships. It's not always, this is a good person, so I have to be with them. Some good women are not for you just because of factors that you might not be able to deal with, and you might be able to understand that. There's going to be women who've got children from a former partner. Can you handle that? These are things that you need to really understand before you overcommit, because liking someone just on face value, you have to really dig deep. So back to what Abu said, you have to vet, but make sure. I
video I have up, it's called Men Are Muscle, Women Are Flesh, or Women Are Skin. And I talk about this, like past traumas. And basically, you're absolutely right. You have to find out about whatever sort of hardship she's gone through in her lifetime. And this was from a one-to-one consultation that I did with the guy. And he was of the ill-informed and guided concept and idea that just because a woman got through a lot of hardship in her life, she would make a good woman, that she was a soldier, she'd stick it out and she was going to be a good one. I was like, no, man. I was like, women are like skin. Muscle needs to be exposed to hardship and hard work and whatever else to develop and grow. That's you as a man. Skin needs to be protected from the environments and the elements, or it gets scarred. It still serves its purpose of protecting everything underneath it, but it's scarred and it leaves behind scars. And so it's like women, because they're more emotional creatures, they deal with stress, hardship, and problems in a different way than men. And it can cause problems in women, and it is very hard to deal with. And you do not want, you don't want to deal with it if you don't have to. If it's something that happens within the relationship, fine, you can deal with that. But when a woman comes with front-loaded problems from her past, these are things you need to find out about. And it's easy to find out about because generally they carry it around like a badge on their shoulder. And, they'll start talking and telling you about all this stuff they went through. And then what you have to find out is how badly that has affected her as an individual you know, and her current personality and how she's going to be dealing with you as a man. Guys, we're coming up on 2 hours, man. We've been like really good.
I just seen that, man. I just seen that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, we just sort of like went. Did we stay on topic here? I don't even know.
I mean, basically, essentially, you know, we're staying on topic more or less.
I think it's a different concept in general, but it kind of worked, didn't it? Right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. If guys, if y'all ain't got any questions, we're gonna wrap this up here because it's actually been a while. You know. Yeah. I got stuff to do, and I still got this course. The course launch is on the 31st. It's the 27th. It's being put together in a book and everything right now. I'm still adding sections. I still got to do deep editing, you know. So yeah, I really got to get to work to make sure this launch. No matter what, we're launching on the 31st. If you guys don't mind, since you know it's launching. No matter what, on the 31st, updates. Anybody who's done a pre-order, you will get the updates. You know, I'll add it as extra sections and extra chapters. So, boom, you guys are gonna get it. But no matter what, this launches the 31st, and you guys are going to be impressed. I got 51 pages so far of just what to look out for women, what women you don't want, and why. This is a list of women that you can just use as an elimination process, guys. You know, so, and I know that sounds a bit harsh, like eliminating women, but you really, you know, women deal with men from a position of disqualifying. From the get-go, women automatically are dealing with men from a position of disqualification. She's looking at what it takes to not to get rid of you, but she's like, you know, everything seems too right about this guy. You ever heard a woman say that? Everything seems too perfect. She's looking for a disqualifier, and when she can't find one, she says everything seems too perfect. That's because she can't find a disqualifier. Women approach men disqualifiers.
Yeah, straight up, like men will be like, you know, talking with women, just be glad to like you know, be in their presence, you know, whichever. And a woman will be like, "Are you married? Do you do any drugs? Do you drink alcohol? Do you have any children? Do you have any?" Like they're like going down a fucking checklist, man. So heck yeah, it is like that because the consequences if they choose wrong are a lot more severe than if we choose wrong. I know men don't like to hear that because they go, "Oh, well, you could be taken to court and lose all their shit." Yeah, you could be stuck with an ugly kid for the rest of her life. You know what I mean? Little retarded mother. You know, like you know, and because she chose wrong, right? So it's they do, man. If they're vetting and they're making sure like everything's proper on their end, you got to do the same. Got to. Got to.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to your course. Coming out, by the way.
I think I'm not sure if it's still on my website. Maybe my admin guy, because I don't handle my website. I got a guy who does it for me. Maybe he took it down, but I used to have like a reading list, and I've got like a whole audiobook reading list on my phone. If it's not up, then I'll have him put it back up. You can go on my website and find it there. But I do have a reading list that I go over, you know, on all sorts of topics, whatever else, from female psychology to relationship psychology and counseling and all. I listen to like a lot of different stuff because I take this seriously with the whole Abuamerican thing and making sure that, you know, I'm giving guys proper and good advice, you know, because it's impossible for me as a man to experience everything and then collate it and put it together in a way that everybody can understand. So sometimes I got to turn to professionals, and sometimes those professionals are full of crap. You can tell they're just speaking from theoretics, but most of the time, you know, some of their stuff is on point because it does come from like a science of observation of like past situations. Bro, I don't know what you mean. What does that mean?
Bobby on the Ugly Kid. Oh, that's you. Bobby on the Ugly Kid. Did you write that?
You know what? I remember I told you guys I made the channel into a branded channel. I don't know if anybody noticed. It doesn't say Abuamerican Little anymore. It just says Abuamerican. That's because I changed from my personal channel to a branded channel. So now Abuamerican is actually a brand name. And I have an admin now that can comment. I can. So that's his comment. I was like, I didn't type that. So that's why I was the show live.
No, hey, you know what? Speaking on books real quick, only because a lot of this I discussed in the last book that I did. I have a book on mindset called Thinking Tough. And that was I discussed a lot of the stuff that we talked about tonight, but basically just coming from a position to where you can make sure that you're a stand-up guy, that you're on point. And once you're at that level, a lot of decision making becomes easier because you already know what you're supposed to be doing or not supposed to be doing, and you essentially have a bar that you can measure yourself up against. So you could find that. There's not a link up or whatever, but if
we'll get it up there.
I don't. Yeah, I don't even know. It's like a Gumroad link, so I wouldn't even know what it is. But if you go, if any of you guys follow me on Twitter or anything like that, it should be in one of those tweets or something. It's so vague or something. But it's there somewhere because I run ads on it, so it'll be in my feed.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're going today, gentlemen. We're at 2 hours exact.
Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah,
we keep doing this longer and longer. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to OG Logic episode 8. Sadiq, you working on anything? Anything you want to announce? I know you got your radio show is back. What is it called? Blacklisted?
Yeah. It says Blacklisted UK. Where we're on Instagram Live every Sunday at 8 p.m. So it's Blacklisted UK _. We'll be moving to Zoom very shortly, so look out for that, and I'll post information on the Twitter.
That's dope.
Bobby?
That's awesome. I'm currently working on a couple books and a screenplay. I also have the outfit that you can if you go to bobbydino.com, you can find the outfit there in the store. That's a men's group similar to what Sadiq has, or excuse me, to what Craig has. As a matter of fact, Sadiq and Craig are members, and it's where there's a bunch of different experts in a bunch of different fields that are currently members, and it's all about getting better. Weekly Zooms, where you can do Q&As. Tune in, be on video yourself if you want. So check that out. It's continuing to grow, and it's a good spot for people to really level up.
I can vouch for it.
Co-sign.
That's
all
awesome.
Right, guys.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for tuning in. We'll see you next Monday for episode 9. We are out.
Guys.